Today we're going to take a look at my newest acquisition. It is a Bulgari Octo. I actually purchased it through a website called Bezel. I'm going to go through that purchasing process as well. I am really excited about this watch. It's really a celebrated watch. A lot of people love it. Some people really hate it. However, obviously, since I've purchased one, I'm one of the people who do love it. This is the 41mm version with a stainless steel bracelet. You see the movement from the back. It has a Gerald Genta design. I really don't think you can go wrong. So let's flip the camera and take a look at my new Bulgari Octo. So here it is. This is the Bulgari Octo that I chose to buy through Bezel. So they are called Get Bezel. You can look up their website. They also have an app which actually is amazing. Their website's pretty amazing as well. I've used them for the first time and I really don't regret it. This was actually sourced. So this was not a watch. This specific watch was not one that they had on their website. They actually had a 38mm version of this. I asked them if they had the 41mm version. They actually sourced this for me specifically, which is something that they do, and that's the reason why I went to them. You just speak to them, they have a chat function, and they will source you the exact watch that you were looking for, so they don't have to actually have it on their website. And their website is very modern. It's probably one of the most modern websites that I have used for a watch dealer. I'll call them a watch dealer because basically they are sort of a gray market dealer. Tons of watches on there, and they have some really great quality watches. This is in pristine condition. This came with box and papers, everything included, and it is immaculate. You can see the shine on that bracelet. It's a little bit hard to get those perfectly clean, but there is not a scratch on this watch. I am super impressed with the watch that they actually sourced for me. So this is not an Octo Finissimo. This is actually an Octo L'Original or L'Original. I don't know if I say that correctly, but this is not the ultra thin version of the Octo. This is the 41mm version of the Octo L'Original. So I just want to clarify that right at the beginning. So this is slightly thicker than a Finissimo, but it's not thick. I would not say that this watch is thick at all. The Octo itself can actually trace its roots back to Gerald Genta. So Gerald Genta, when he had his own brand under his own name, he actually created a watch with 8 sides to the bezel. It had an angular case, and I believe they called it the Octo. However, when Bulgari actually acquired the Gerald Genta name and the brand, they sort of updated it to what you see today. Now this looks like a Finissimo, so when you actually put this on your wrist, it looks like an Octo Finissimo. Like I said, just a little bit thicker, but everything here is very, very similar. So you have a very angular case. It's a square case, and there are tons of facets to this case. It's automatic, and you do get to see the caliber from the back. It is in-house to Bulgari, and it's very nicely decorated. It's not incredible, but it is very nicely decorated. And I kind of think of the Cartier Santos when I think of this style watch. There are a few different reasons for that. The Cartier Santos in particular is a sports watch. This gets 100 meters of water resistance, so does the Cartier Santos. They are both made by jewelry brands. So Cartier, really a jewelry brand. Bulgari, also a jewelry brand. However, they make very high quality watches, and they put that know-how into the creation of cases and bracelets. So they use that jewelry know-how to make incredibly high quality, well-finished cases and bracelets. They also have their own in-house movements. However, Bulgari are actually truly in-house, while Cartier have Richemont and they make their movements, and that's what they're using. So technically, Bulgari are actually in-house, so they have their own manufacturer, which is pretty cool. This is a 41mm watch, as I mentioned, but it doesn't really wear like a 41mm watch. It kind of wears strange because it is a square. So it's 41.4mm, but the lug to lug, and you can see the way that they have designed this, the lugs are basically in line with the bracelet. So you have female end links on here. So when you measure it at the female end links, it's 48.6. At the actual case, it's basically 47 millimeters, maybe a little bit bigger than that, 47 and a half, somewhere around there. You have a decent sized crown on here at 6.2 millimeters. And you have a little sapphire in that crown, which is in a black color. And then of course the thickness on here, one of the best measurements on this watch. You do have a sapphire crystal, 10.5 millimeters thick. That is pretty awesome considering you're getting 100 meters of water resistance, and you get that water resistance because of the screwed in case back with sapphire crystal, by the way, so you can see the movement, which is impressive, and you get a screwed in crown. Now you don't get to see the movement on a Cartier Santos. I would like to do a comparison between this watch and the Cartier Santos because I think they are really in competition with each other. Both iconic watches that are integrated bracelet style watches. So I say style, this is really an integrated bracelet watch because you do need to order straps from Bulgari, otherwise it actually will not fit the case. Whereas I believe on the Cartier Santos you can. So here you'll see there is a line of polish, then a line of brushing, and that goes throughout the entire bracelet. Each one of these links has a mirror polish and a beautiful brush, a vertical brushing on each one of the links. The bracelet really tapers a lot. It's a piece of jewelry. It's beautifully made. I really love it. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous bracelet. Signed Bulgari on the underside of the butterfly clasp, and again on the top of the butterfly clasp. So basically they've signed it everywhere. And then when you fold over the clasp and close it, it says Bulgari again right there. Beautiful watch. They make a chronograph. This is the 41 millimeter. They make this in a 38 millimeter as well. I felt like that was a little too small for my 7.5 inch wrist. I think a lot of people would really like that 38 millimeter version though. As I mentioned, I did buy this from Bezel. And I did also want to mention that they authenticate all of their watches. So essentially the way that it works is they get watches from sources, so people who are selling their watches. Some of them might be dealers, some of them could be individuals. However, they take all of the watches in-house, similar to other marketplaces that do something very similar. However, they authenticate and thoroughly authenticate each watch, which I really like, and it was a really quick turnaround. So this was authenticated by them. This watch actually exceeded my expectations. The condition here is better than I expected, and obviously it was authenticated. I am really happy with this purchase from Bezel. It's a gorgeous watch. So very quickly, I will throw it on my wrist. There is no lume on here. So again, we'll get back to comparisons to the Cartier Santos. I have an ADLC version. We'll do a full head-to-head with that watch. However, that watch does get lume. This watch does not. So it's a sports watch without lume. That is a little bit of a miss. But again, look at the design. It is really hard to make a watch like this without any sharp edges. I mean, it's smooth. It feels beautiful in your hands. And it's so faceted. You have brushing, polishing. There's so many different edges with polish on different edges, on the inside of edges. It's incredible. Just the bracelet itself, the bezel, there's 8 sides, and there's a circle on top of that. Then on the inside of the bezel, there's 8 more sides. Just a lot going on. These long indices on here, those are all applied. You have a glossy black dial, and then the date. That's the only thing I don't like about this watch. Of course I don't, because you guys know I hate the date. The date at the 3 o'clock, it cuts off part of the index at 3. I wish they didn't add the date here. Really beautiful, skeletonized hands. Very, very elegant watch. Just gorgeous, really gorgeous. Very grippy crown, by the way. The way that they did this, there's sort of little, I don't know, it's little pieces of metal that sort of stick out, make it incredibly grippy, so it's really not a pain to unwind and wind the crown. Excellent, really, really excellent. Everything is beautiful, and then the indices are all vertically brushed and have a little bit of an edge to them as well, so they've beveled the edges on the indices. I'll do close-ups of all that so you can see what I'm saying. Really simple dial and very well executed, except for the date, of course. But that's just me personally. I don't like the date, as you guys know. But very quickly, on my wrist today, I have another Gerald Genta design. This is my Ingenieur that I recently purchased as well. This is a Ingenieur perpetual calendar with digital display flyback chronograph in titanium. A lot going on this watch, but another Gerald Genta design. So this is pretty similar story to this watch, because this is technically a Gerald Genta design, but obviously Gerald Genta did not design a watch like this. It obviously grew and changed over the years. So the original design for the Bulgari Octo was obviously different from this, but you know, they updated it and changed it and made it something for Bulgari, and here it is. Look at that. That bracelet. I was always worried with this watch that the bracelet would be too wide. It is not. It is gorgeous. It's a really beautiful bracelet, and it fits perfectly on my 7.5 inch wrist. The 38 millimeter version would also fit pretty well on my wrist, but I really like the presence of this watch. I just love it. I would love to see this compared to an Octo Finissimo. I've tried on a few, the chronograph and a few others. They're incredible watches, but these are a lot more affordable, and they're only slightly more thicker. So really just a smidge more thick. You don't get such a crazy movement inside, so you're not getting hand-wound movements or micro rotors or anything like that, but you are getting a very reliable movement in here, something that they've been using for years. That's why I went this route. Maybe one day I'll own an Octo Finissimo as well. I am really enjoying this watch. I really love the look. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think down in the comments below. I will put a link to Bezel down in the comments as well, in the description as well. Check them out. Check out their website. Like I said, a pretty amazing website. They have tons of watches that you could check out. They do a really great job at really presenting the watches as well, and their descriptions, and they're really, really helpful. Like I said, I sourced this watch. I worked with a guy named Chris, actually, over at Bezel, and he helped me find the exact watch I was looking for in, like I said, condition that exceeded my expectations. So really, really happy with this watch at a great price. So very, very happy. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think down in the comments below, what you think of this watch. What do you think of the Octo L'Original versus the Finissimo? What do you think of this watch versus the Cartier Santos? Of course, like I said, I will do a video on those two watches, sort of a head-to-head comparison. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.